gosh, what do they think is going to go on there? So we got that withdrawn. They also filed a preliminary injunction against one of our grant programs. That's the thing that you guys have been seeing all in the news about this grant program to Black women with MasterCard, and that's what has been on pause, just that. The business itself has not been on pause. But the third thing they filed was the complaint itself. So we went to court in September, and SOARs were there in numbers, so thank you so much. Our former national president, Sora Beverly Smith, she sent SOARs down. She said, I'm sending some SOARs down to the courthouse, so sure, you're not alone on that date. They were definitely there. That was September 26th. We won the preliminary injunction, federal district court, right? The plaintiffs stated immediately they were going to appeal. They appealed that week. We then had to, well, back and forth with briefs, but just to speed it up, we went to appeals court, federal appeals court in Miami, Florida, January 31st, before a 3-judge panel, talk about federal judges and politics, 2 Trump-appointed judges, 1 Obama-appointed judge. We are waiting on the ruling from that panel. That's where we're at today. We have not even been to court on the case itself, the complaint. We've been to court on the preliminary injunction. So that's what I wanted to leave with.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That would have been part of like, where are we today? So thank you. So at this time, I'd like everyone, and we'll have another opportunity, Arian, so to give your closing statements, and we'll actually end with Arian. So Terry.
Wow, there's a lot of great conversation. I guess in terms of what I would like to leave with you is a couple things. I think we have to always be ready to have talking points to push back on the false basis for all of this. You know, so equity and equality, a lot of times we use those terms interchangeably, and they're really not. Equality is treating equally situated things the same way, and equity is treating differently situated things differently based on the needs of those differences. But the goal ultimately in both cases is equality. So I think we gotta keep those terms straight in our minds. And I think for the economists, I know I heard there's a couple of economists, but economists, I think they really need to work on making an economic case for, for diversity and inclusion, and having everybody at the economic table. You know, how much money are we losing as an economy, or how much smaller is our economy if everyone does not have access to compete? I think we have to, for those who do think in those terms, because I think there are probably those who you're not going to ever reach them, but for those who are at least trying to have some fact-based, intellectual basis, we've got to have data to support why there's an economic reason for this. It's not just charity, it's not just a feel-good thing. Our economy depends on everyone being able to be at the table.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Terry, yes, please.
What I'd like to leave us with this evening is that there's something for everyone to do. You don't have to be a lawyer or a brilliant economist or a marching activist or a voter or a poet like Hank or a candidate for Superior Court judge like my friend Robert Patillo in the back. But you have to do something. You can't let this moment pass you by. If you talk to people of a certain age today, they will tell you that they marched with Dr. King. Most of them lying. Because most people didn't march with Dr. King. In the last years before his death, he was a disgraced and hated man. But it took courage to do. So if you've got the faith of a mustard seed and a little bit of courage, and you can do one thing, you can encourage somebody to vote, you can make a TikTok video, you can combat disinformation on the internet, you can call a lie for what it is. Do that thing. Do that one thing. If that will be enough to help us move the tide of where we're going right now, because a lot of what we're seeing is driven by fear, and scared people are dangerous people. Yeah. And what I want to say to them is, y'all can relax. We ain't never going to treat you the way you treated us. Once there is no longer a white majority in the United States, we will still be humane and just and Christian and fair. So you can relax.
I think Janice said the most important thing, which is that we all need to be doing everything we can to affect the election that's coming up in November. And each one of us has a different role. I think, all of us need to look at our income and say, hey, do we have a few dollars we can give to those senators that are in those vulnerable districts? Send a few dollars. Send a few dollars to the president. If you need to contact some of your relatives, especially our younger people, I understand, and Janice alluded to it earlier, the concern about Gaza. I'm incensed about what I see happening there. But at the end of the day, the other party is not going to do any more on that than the party we have in now. But on our issues, black folk, they got something for us. And so we need to be organizing, we need to be talking to folk, and we need to be telling folk third parties and voting for Robert Kennedy and voting for all these other crazy folk like Cornel West and, no. We got to get focused and organized and vote. Some of y'all can't do anything but just like Janice said, the folk who've been borrowing money from you can have a barbecue and invite Cut and Pookie over, and make sure he's got his voter registration card up to date, But we gotta get focused and win this election. It's critical.
And just to sum all of this up, and we've heard the quote before, but if everybody does a little, no one has to do a lot. And you can be a change agent from your seat. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. At this time, I would thank you, panelists, if you all would just stay for a few minutes. At this time, I would like to bring up the Honorable Byron Amos, District 3, Atlanta City Council. He has a special presentation for us.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Of course, your program says something else, says Michael Bond, but he couldn't make it, but I am not him. But he is my brother, and I am his, so I will stand with him because I can never stand in for him. As a small business owner, when I decided to name my business, I have a security company, and I named it EATS, In All Threats Security, because you want your name of your company to mean something when someone hear it. So when a special young lady got together with a group of friends and picked the name, the Fearless Fund, at that particular moment, you had to understand what God was saying when he said, he did not say the weapon would not form. He said it wouldn't prosper. So, yeah. So in front of me, I have a proclamation from the Atlanta City Council in recognition of Arian Simone Reed. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it all, but I will give you some high points. Whereas the Atlanta City Council, with great honor and admiration, recognize the exemplary contributions and achievements of Arian Simone Reed, co-founder of the Fearless Fund. And whereas Ms. Reed has demonstrated unparalleled dedication and commitment to empowering women entrepreneurs, particularly those of color, by serving as angel investors for women-owned businesses and providing invaluable resources to startups seeking educational grants. And whereas, under Ms. Reed's visionary leadership, the Fearless Fund has garnered national acclaim, having invested over $27 million in 44 companies, reshaping the landscape of venture capital investment and paving the way for women of color to thrive in diverse industries. And whereas the Fearless Fund's remarkable achievement stands as a testament to Ms. Reed's spirit, strategic acumen, and unwavering commitment to creating opportunities for underrepresented entrepreneurs, leaving an indelible mark on the world of business and finance. Now, therefore, it be resolved that we, the members of the Atlanta City Council, on behalf of the citizens of Atlanta, do hereby proclaim and celebrate Arian Simone Reed's extraordinary contributions to entrepreneurship, women empowerment, and diversity in business. Let us honor her by continuing to champion inclusivity, equity, and innovation in all endeavors. Ms. Reed.
Yeah, I got on makeup. This was not my plan today. Thank you, Sora. Hold on.
This is yours.
No, thank you so much. Soros, you all have been so thoughtful because I had no clue we were going to have a testimony from somebody who received a grant. I had no clue about any of this. I just want to say thank you. I think because I have come off sabbatical that like I'm so present and so in this moment. And I am grateful to be just this supported. And this just shows, like I said, that the work that we do is not just for us, it's for all of us. So I'm actually lost for words, which usually doesn't happen, but because I didn't know this was happening. But thank you all so much. Thank you to the city of Atlanta. Thank you, all my sorors, sisters, brothers in the room. I'm very grateful.
Beautiful. You know about this? No, it's a surprise. Thank you. I want to thank our panelists. Can we please give Terry, Janice, Rodney, and Ariane? I know they deserve a standing ovation. They dropped so many nuggets of knowledge. They connected so many dots. We are in a political fight. We have to vote. It starts with our local election all the way to the national election. We have to write our elected officials, write the companies, tell them we want them to support Fearless Fund, and tell them that we are fighting for our economic freedom. That is what we need to hashtag, economic freedom. And what I really loved is that there is something for everyone to do, but do something, right? Don't just sit. Do something. So that's the challenge that we have for everybody here today, is to go out and whether it's get cousin, whoever, to vote, or whether it's just going on your social media and talking about economic freedom and, you know, what you heard today, talking about the Fearless Fund. Just do something. That's all that we ask you. One thing, because that one thing collectively will make a huge difference. With that, I just want to thank you guys, and I want to invite up Sora Fran Phillips Calhoun to the stage.
Okay. Good evening, family. We are so pleased to have each of you here with us this evening. You have blessed us with your presence. And I just want to ask you, were you in the right place at the right time tonight? Okay. I am in wholehearted agreement. This is an awesome panel. These are awesome people doing awesome things. We look at history and we think, oh, wow. This person, you know, they were just dynamic. Nobody else could do that. Now, there's something that God has called all of us to do. And the fact that you are here in this room tonight, it lets us know that part of that is fighting for equal opportunities in this country. And so I echo what our sister Charmaine has said, that we all can do something. Our sister Arian said as well. I have a few housekeeping things, and I also want to recognize some folk who've been so good to us to make this happen. We want to continue to have these conversations, but these conversations are mobilizing conversations. We don't want you to just go home and say, oh, you know, that was a good panel. So we have a few things that we really do want you to do. And first, I'd like to, before I forget, because I have gray hair under there somewhere, I want to recognize our elected officials in the room. Of course, you saw my brother, the Honorable Byron Amos. Thank you for standing in for your brother. He is not well this evening, or else he would have been here. And so if our representative, Derek Jackson, would please stand, wave, let everybody know you're here. Any other elected officials in the room? I see a lot of special folk, our city attorney, our poet laureate, and of course, Johnny Booker, who's been doing this work through the Coca-Cola Company for many, many years. She is retired from Coke, but that's another guru in the room who's in arm's reach. And, you know, yes, please give her applause. Please, please. I know there are many others, and I won't call all names, but if there are those who are running for office, Madam President, I don't think she would mind if I ask you to please stand as well. If you are running for office this year, please stand and let us know. Delta Sigma Theta, okay, we've got someone standing who's waving. All right, I think that's Brother Robert Patillo. Is that right? Okay. And so you all talk with him on the way out. Of course, Delta Sigma Theta, being a 501c organization, does not endorse candidates, but we let everybody in the community know who's running, and we encourage minorities and women to, in fact, run. So just a couple of things. I would like to, I'd like to say that this QR code has remained up all evening for a reason. It's also online. And so that's one of the first things that we would ask that you would do. We would ask your consideration for this cause. It's been stated that this is not just about one organization. This is about freedom. And I didn't put economic freedom on it. I said freedom. Because all of these lawsuits that are coming down, and I don't know if you heard or if anyone said, I know that Rodney mentioned Ed Blum, but Ed Blum was also, he calls himself a legal matchmaker. He was the person who put the plaintiff with her lawyer in the Shelby v. Holder case. You're familiar with Shelby. That case gutted the Voting Rights Act. So this isn't just about economic freedom, it's about our entire livelihood. This is about whether we live, whether we die, whether we are, oppressed, and whether we have the freedom to, of course, create entrepreneurship. The City of Atlanta, our partner, has a reparations commission. They are looking for, and I'm saying this on behalf of the council and Councilman Bond, who authored the legislation which passed unanimously October 16th of last year. If you are interested in sitting on that commission, would love to talk with you after this meeting. Those online can certainly send an email to social action at AtlantaAlumniDST.org. Social action at AtlantaAlumniDST.org. That is something that is akin to this conversation. I heard all of the history lesson up here, and it's very true. We have a commission already with Fulton County that's already discovered where if you actually were in this city for more than 2 weeks, you had to pay a $24 fine just to be black. Now that was a real black tax, Rodney. So there's more of that, but we need good folk, and you do have to be a City of Atlanta resident, but we certainly welcome your interest. There is an evaluation form in your booklet. Please, ma'am, please, sir. Take a moment and fill that out. We want to make sure that our programs are impactful, that we are providing you with information that you can use. And so if you would please just take a moment, I think there are only just a few questions on their front and back. So in addition to what we hope would be regular giving to the Fearless Fund, we are also letting you know that in order to put these programs on, it does cost money, and we're going to get to our sponsors, but I just need to get this out of my hand. So we have a few items that we call our social action gear. And so we are messaging with our wear. We are making a statement. There are some folk who try to take our words, our language, and co-opt it. Dr. King at the 1959 Morehouse College commencement said that we needed to stay awake, that the great problem in our history is that far too many people are asleep. And so we do need to stay awake. Now, this has a backside also. All right, we who believe in freedom, we vote. The back of your program, you can take this QR code home. You can share it with someone else. I meant to say that earlier. Also on our back table, please stop by. We do have some materials that we pass out every week. We have voter cards. They are wallet size. There were 5 elections for 2024. We need everybody, there are 4 more. We need everybody to go out to each of those elections. I had a card here somewhere. Here we go. They are small, they're wallet size. Take a few, give them to your family members who may need to be reminded of all of the election dates. We need everybody at each one of those dates. There's also a hotline number, voter hotline. If you see something, please say something. These are perilous times at the polls. I work for Fulton County government, and I can tell you that firsthand about the threats, about a lot of the shenanigans that go on to keep some of us from voting. Then last but not least, Soror Mary Pat Hector is here somewhere in the room. We have, okay, she's in the back. She's videotaping. We have her cards also. This is for our young people. This year we are focused, and we're going to be working with Hank Stewart and the Stewart Foundation this summer with young folk. This is a vote commitment card. If you've got a young person, and the only reason I take time to mention this, everyone, we've got 8 million young people who will vote for the first time this year. And unfortunately, many of them are saying that they don't want to have anything to do with voting. And because of everything that is happening over in Israel with Gaza, they're even more turned off and determined not to vote. And so if you have an organization, or if there are young people, you know, voter age, of course the Gen Z is 18 to 29, but if you have young people in that category, or if you know of others, full-grown adults, who are so disgusted with the system that they don't want to vote, please tell them that's the reason we need them to vote. So I wanted to just do those things with you. Those are the things that we're asking. We're asking that you share, that you take some of these materials, that you give them out to folk who need them, that you support our organizations, that you support our future. And I want to thank you for being here. I also want to thank our dear soror. She is our new soror. Now, when I say new, she's not new to Delta Sigma Theta, but she is very new, as about of a week ago maybe, to the Atlanta Alumnae chapter. She moved and she says, please do. You know, as in Baptist Church, when you move your membership. And so she has moved and joined us, and we are just so delighted to have you. Thank you for this wonderful job and the leadership that you've provided for many, many years as president of the MBA Association of Atlanta and so much more. And so we have a little token of appreciation, the Soror Elizabeth. And this is just to thank you for coming in, hitting the ground running. Thank you so much for your support. When I called, she did not say no. She saw who was on the panel, and she said, oh, wait, this conversation has to happen. I want to be there. So we thank you, Soror Charmaine. Thank you. Yep. All right. Now, she says, get to the business at hand. You know, in the Baptist Church, we do everything first. So we want to thank our sponsors and our partners. And so if you are with these organizations, we ask you to please stand or wave so that we can properly acknowledge you. The Black Youth Vote, Coaching Catalyst, LLC, Equity for All, Georgia Micro Enterprise Network, GMEN. They also, as you heard earlier, are in the corner there, and they have some materials that you can see. Griffin and Strong, our Rodney Strong panelists, thank you, sir. MRH International, that's Mike Ross. I know he was with the Black Mayors Association this evening, but please give him a round of applause. National Council for Negro Women, the Greater Atlanta section. All right, all the ladies in purple and red. Thank you, sorors, for being here. And Russell Cares, Paul Bryant just left. He is the Vice President for External Affairs. He just had to leave, but stayed throughout our program. We're going to be doing some additional work with them and certainly with Rice, and so we thank them for their support. Then, of course, Rice. Now, we heard earlier from Jay Bailey. We are appreciative of his support. Rise with Mary Pat Hector, and of course, our panelists. We are so grateful, Terry, for you being here. We know that you all aren't a sponsor, but your participation means a great deal and made a great difference, for your being here. And then, of course, the Fearless Fund. We thank you. Our national office and our dear sister who we know who has been on the front line so long, and we appreciate her. Janice, I love you. You are my dear sister. Janice Mathis, everyone, attorney. Thank you all, and at this point in time, I believe I am turning it over to our president and first vice president. Come on, we'll get the first vice president. I'll come down and help.
I'm a little physically challenged for the time being. First of all, I don't believe in I'm a Baptist too, but may I have my notes over there, please? But I don't believe in taking up time saying what's already been said. This has been one fantastic panel. Thank you so much, Terry, Janice, Arian, and Rodney. So much education, so much information, so much enlightenment. Thank each and every one of you. And I want to thank each and every one who took the time to come out tonight and listen and learn and then take action. We need to take action. Last but not least, I want to thank, Delta Sigma Theta has a five-point programmatic thrust. Two of those committees that make up that five-point programmatic thrust are economic development and social action. And these ladies have joined together tonight and just presented something magnificent. So I want to recognize them and all the committee members. Economic development is chaired by Elizabeth Wilson and Valerie Franklin. Social action is chaired by Fran Phillips Calhoun. Where's Mary Pat Hector? There's Mary Pat, and I just saw Sonia Patterson. Where is she? Okay. These are the co-chairs. But with all members present of those committees, please stand and be recognized. These ladies have done a fantastic job. Thank you so very much, so very much. I don't know what else to say, y'all. It's been good. It's really been good. So I'm going to turn it over to First Vice President Janice Hull Lemons, okay, just to end it. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Our sorority has charged us with strategic planning to create impactful programming that's relevant and serves to advance our communities. This is through education and providing tools for the communities. This year, as we celebrate 100 years of service, scholarship, and sisterhood, we want to recognize a relevant programming. The Fearless Fund's mission is to invest in women of color who lead businesses to ensure their success. This is the goal of the economic development arm of our sorority through our Financial Fortitude Initiative. We all know that there are significant gaps between venture capital funding for businesses led by women of color. This brings awareness of an economic and a social issue, so that it makes sense that this topic was shared by these two committees, and it's very appropriate, and we want to thank them, and we want to also thank our audience for attending. Thank you. Okay, we want to present gifts to our panelists. for serving, and we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to serve on this panel and to give us so much relevant and impactful information. We appreciate you.
So once again, thank you for coming out. We hope that you have learned and that you're going to go out and take action. Once again, thank you, thank you, thank you, and good night.